Welcome to the I Give Life to Life podcast with Coach Enrgy, the single parent's life coach. This is the channel and the platform where I share valuable information on all matters of the heart and various life issues that single dads and single moms face. And even if you are not a parent, that's okay because I still share much needed information on time management, how to have that work-life balance. If you've gone through various relationship issues, marriages and divorces, life-changing events, and how to effectively communicate, anything that you can think of that we all go through life having to decide how to conquer, how to navigate, how to just simply figure it out, I share it here on this channel. And I have a special guest with me today. This is DJ Dex, and he has firsthand knowledge that he's going to share with us about being a single parent and about being a single dad that is active in his child's life. So DJ Dex, let me go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Dexter Easley Jr., DJ Dex. I'm glad to join you, Enrgy. This is exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being willing to be a guest. I was so excited when you accepted my invite. With everything going on as far as co-parenting, single parenting, and you being a single dad, it's kind of rare that single dads will participate. So I am super thankful that you were willing to just kind of join in and share your perspective, your personal perspective, as well as just, in general, the man's perspective, a dad's perspective when it comes to doing the single parenting thing and when it comes to the co-parenting issues that we all at some point as a single parent may or may not have dealt with. So you ready to go ahead and get started?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So we're going to just start with a little bit of background. Just tell us a little bit about you yourself as, your experience and your journey of being a single parent. How did that start? How many years ago, did you have to embark on that journey? Was it something that was it planned? Was it something that caught you off guard? Just kind of tell us a little bit about how you became a single parent.
Well, how I became a single parent, I was actually, it was about 13 years ago, exactly. My son, I have a son, and he's a junior. I'm super proud of him. He's an amazing young man. So no, it was not planned, at all. Come to find out that, I was out of town, and then I found out, my son's mother was pregnant, and even with that, information, it was kind of surprising, to the point of even doubts and unbeliefs of if it was my son, So that was really kind of, definitely a challenging thing, but with that, it was because we was not even together anymore. So we, broken up, and then that came next. So it was kind of like, wait a minute, how do I take this? Is this real? Do I ignore it? All those things was going in my mind and my brain. I was really young, and so with that, it was just really, it took me off guard, but, I was grounded, with my parents as far as them helping me through the process. But yeah, I was surprised, to answer your question. And I had to, of course, go through the parenting life, for the first time.
Right, absolutely. And so when you found out that you now had a son in the world that was, coming soon, how did you prepare for it? Like emotionally, and then, with whatever you had going on in your life at that time. I do remember you saying that you were young or younger. So I don't know exactly, what you were doing at that moment, if you were in school or if you were already working. I know that you were a DJ. I don't know if you were maybe already on tour, if you had just a bunch of things lined up, and
Right.
if, how did it affect you and how did you prepare? Did you have to make a major life change or a huge transition?
Yes, actually, before, I found out when I was actually on the road, when I was actually touring for some artists. So I found out that way, and then It shifted. I thought it was going to shift my whole entire life as far as my heart's desire and my career. Um, but thank God that I was able to you know manage it the right way. Um, but yeah, I was young. It changed a lot of things drastically as far as preparing mentally. I had to get my mind, together, and refocus on as a man, refocus as growing up and knowing that look, this is a different kind of ball game. This is straight strong responsibility that you're going to have to hold down if of course if he's your son and that's the thing. I deep down felt that he was, my son, so that was the, positive, the positive thing about it. And then on top of that, I just knew that I had to, of course, do what I had to do as a father, and of course, grow up quickly with, knowledge and wisdom and understanding. So, yes, I mean, it wasn't easy. Um, a lot of things had to be on pause. A lot of things had to, stop drastically as far as my career. So then, of course, I can regroup and plan accordingly, on how I can be an effective father and be there, for my son.
Absolutely. And you said something that I want to ask you about. You said that you had to put certain things on pause and drastically. And I do know that that's one of the things that a lot of us can, not really do. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. When we find out that we have a child coming, and especially if we are in the situation of becoming a single parent, or we see where we're going to be in a co-parenting type of situation. And, when life starts to, I guess, reality sets in, we realize that, okay, man, I had all these plans for my life and for myself. Now having a child, this is going to, have to cause some things to stop. And a lot of us, we tend to fight that. We tend to, have a real internal struggle with having to change and shift from what we thought our plans were, what our plans were for our lives, in order to do what's necessary, to become that parent, to make those necessary changes, to become that parent, or to get ready to be a parent. And, when you stated that you had to pause, when you made that decision, was it a struggle for you? Did you have those thoughts or fears of, wow, like I've had, these are all the things that I've been working on. These are things that are already in motion. I've got my career going. Things are like I'm on top of the world, to whatever degree that looks like for you. And was there any fear in there? Was there any hesitation of, yeah, there's this child that's coming. But at the same time, man, this career, this is everything that I've, dreamed of. This is everything that I've been working for. Were there any fears or I'm not going to say hesitations, but, maybe we can throw that word in there as well. When it came to you having to actually say, you know what, I've got to put things on pause.
Yes, definitely. I was really nervous. And then I could use that word, fear. I was scared that I would not be able to complete the goal that I, of course, wanted to, complete, and with my career, and also just in general, life, certain things, of course, just have to stop, and you have to, put on your pants and keep on moving forward as a man, in general, because you're a leader, and being a man, and of course, in that whole entire, state of mind, being young, you just had to definitely move forward and do it, and that's where you got to activate your faith, you know what I'm saying, and push forward through it all, I really, a lot of things that I desired to do, that I wanted to do, and opportunities that I missed out on, of course, you just have to definitely have faith, you know what I'm saying, and know that, hey, the time will come. And when that time comes, it will all work out, in the right plan, because of course there's a plan always, so definitely I was nervous, scared, but after gaining the strength to move forward, I was like, all right, I can do this, as a man.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to ask this question because, again, with you being a single dad, there are a lot of people, a lot of guys who need to hear from you, who need to hear from your perspective. So one of the questions I want to ask is, and this is there's a little sarcasm in here, but not really, because it's a real question. So before you your son, before you were told that you had a child on the way, and then the moment that he arrived, did you know how to be a parent at that time? Was it something that you saw, you saw examples of, were you helping raise maybe your nieces or nephews, if you have any, or any cousins or godchildren? Or was it a situation where you literally had no idea of how to be a parent and you literally had to figure it out and learn as you go?
Great question. No, actually, I had my parents, and that's a blessing. My dad, I, of course, looked up to him, and I saw him, how he led the household, and how he took care of the family, by himself. He took care of my mom and my sisters. So I was, I had an example, of how it should be. But again, it's a whole nother ball game when you're in that position yourself, because you have to take on that responsibility and figure out things and find out how things are going to actually happen. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, to answer your question, yes, in a way of more so of a viewpoint. What's the word I'm looking for? Like an example. Yes, I saw that growing up and experienced that growing up. But as far as, taking on, that lead of doing it myself, is a whole nother animal, you know what I'm saying? So, it's one thing, it's like, wow. So then you really actually experience what it really is, meaning, fatherhood and being a single parent, or just being a parent in general, you know what I'm saying, on how to move forward and how to really make things happen. And that's what it's, definitely all about. So, I hope I answered your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, and I set that question up in order to segue to this next point and see if you can add more to it, because with the discussions that I've had with some of my clients, the male clients, the single dads that are out there, one of their reasons of not really being involved, being an involved parent, to the degree of what they need to do and or can at least do more of, is because they always say, or one of the things that they say that's very common is, well, because I don't know how to be a parent. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about diapers. I don't know anything about, if the child gets sick. I don't know anything about, whatever, even those just day-to-day activities. And, I always have to say, well, the mother, she didn't know either, and so it's like, yeah, you may not have known how to do it. You may not have known how to be a parent. I really don't think anyone, even our grandparents and
Right.
our own parents knew how to be a parent until they stepped in those shoes. And they also just had to walk the walk and figure it out day by day.
Yeah.
And so with that, it always poses a question of like, but even though you may not know how to do it, that's still no reason or an excuse to just,
Definitely not.
throw your hands up and say, well, I'm not going to be involved at all. I'm just going to leave it all up to the mother. And that mother, she has no idea either. So that was that was the setup to the question. I wanted to ask you, if you knew, if you were ready, if you were already prepared and equipped to be a parent, even being able to take care of those day-to-day activities, those day-to-day responsibilities, when the baby is crying, how to keep, how to keep him from crying. Do you know if he needs a diaper change at that point? Do you know if he's hungry? Do you know if he has an upset stomach? Like, no one knows, until you actually go through the process. And so I just, it's one of the things that I have to work on mostly with my single dads who are parents, to just kind of let them know, like, yeah, no one has a playbook on being a parent. You just have to figure it out. And not being able to be in control of it, not being able to say, oh, I got this with confidence, is no reason to not fulfill the role.
Definitely. At all. No excuses. The male is the head, you know what I'm saying, in general, and leading wise of, what he's supposed to do on his responsibilities in general, I feel personally. And that's my personal opinion. And that's what I've, been introduced to, throughout the years and things. So of my life, seeing my father take care of, the family, as well as the fact of just seeing, positive mentors, take care of their family. So it's no excuse, no matter what, because there are single mothers out here that definitely go through a whole lot, extra, and have to figure out school stuff, have to figure out, how the, how to go to the health insurance, all this stuff, all this information that, a lot of people look over, don't even think about. Scheduling breakdown. How is this going to be? How is this going to work out when the child wants to be in a sport or something, or, gymnastics, whatever. At the end of the day, that mom is truly breaking it down. Like, this is just, surface level stuff. We haven't got to, super parenting, what I'm saying? So when, I don't want to be so deep, but, you got to explain, the birds and the bees as well as periods, like it's different things, that comes up as what mothers have on them, especially, strong mothers, like yourself. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm gonna co-sign what you said, and just to let you know, you're not the only one thinking that way, and you're not out there by yourself with that thought process or that mentality. I also agree that the male is the head, period, point blank. And the reason I agree with that is why you'll see everywhere, and anytime you'll hear it, you'll see it when I'm talking about, what is it that I do, what my platform is about, who my primary clientele is that I coach and work with are, and I break it down this way, and I always put dads first. If you look at any of my written copy, if you go to my bio, if you ever hear me talk, I always say, yeah, I'm a coach for single dads and single moms. And I put dads first because y'all men are the leaders.
Yeah.
Y'all are the heads. And without y'all, everything else starts to break down. Without y'all playing your role and being in place, everything else starts to crumble slowly but surely. And so you're absolutely right. The male is the head. And that's why it's so important for me to not just be another advocate of single moms, just of only single moms. Men have to, have an advocate for them as well. Right. And I'm so passionate about that because I understand how when the male, the man is not in his place, when he is not present, when he's not playing his role or his part, everything else is not going to be right.
Exactly.
Not in the way that it was supposed to be, not in the way that it was created to be. So I just wanted to say that and let you know I'm in agreement with you when you make that statement, because it's so true. And it's because of that statement and that belief of why I am very intentional when I say, yeah, I work with single dads and single moms. Because we can't do it without each other. Parenting is not created or meant to be or structured to be taken care of with just one side, with just one parent. Like, you can't. So I better stop right there with that particular point, because yeah, you don't understand. Like, that is so huge. And that's one of the main things that I work on when I am coaching my male clients, is to get them to understand that aspect. Because if you understand that piece, that small piece, but you see how large it is, and you see just how big of an effect that it makes on everything else after him, then that's when it's like, wow, it kind of puts things back into perspective. And it makes, people or guys or males to kind of, reposition themselves and say, you know what, I am an important figure. I am an important piece to this puzzle. I am an important person in my household. So therefore, let me fulfill that role. Let me step in those shoes and walk in those shoes.
Right.
Because sometimes people have to know that they are needed, and that they actually, that the part that they play, or their existence, just period, them having breath in their body, their existence is needed in order for them to say, you know what, let me step up, let me do what I have to do, because now I see the effect that it has on this child. Now I see the effect that it's going to have on my grandchildren, or on my ex, even if those two are not together. But now they see how, if it affects the household, which then affects the family, then it affects the community, and then it affects everything else. And sometimes, people don't see the importance that they play, how important they are.
Yes.
And so for me, I work towards just showing guys, men, the dads, that your part in this is necessary.
Yes, it is.
So that's what I have to say about that.
Put your foot down.
That's right. Shit, y'all are important too. I say that all the time. Like, no, y'all are important. Of course the moms are, but y'all are super important. We can't, as women, as the females, we can't do it by ourselves.
Yeah, you're right.
I say that even though understanding that we end up doing it by ourselves because we have to, but we really can't do it by ourselves. That's why we end up having to, as the child gets older, and especially if it's a son, as our child gets older, we end up having to find a male role model. A male mentor, because we just cannot do it by ourselves, because it's not meant to be a single parenting type of situation, period. So before I go to the next question, did you have anything to say following that?
I agree 1,000%. I'm with you 1,000% as far as, the male supposed to be the head, and I'm just piggybacking on everything that we just technically just said. There's no excuses. I don't believe in that part right there. So I guess the feedback that you was getting from the males that was saying that, of course, it's work to do with everybody. Everybody has some work to do, but that's definitely the number one things that as a male you have to do. You have to take responsibility, and of course, with everything and anything, but foremost, the head. You have to lead. So definitely, I just agree.
Awesome. So, okay, everything in life is about choice. That's something I talk about all the time. Life is all about the choices that you make wherever you are in life. Every single, moment in life is due to the choices that you made,
Correct.
Within what you can control, of course. So, as a lot of people now, both, of course, there are both females and males who make this particular decision that I'm about to bring up next. But as a male, you had a choice to walk away. You had a choice to be a total absentee father.
Yes.
And of course, like I was saying earlier, because I want to make sure I put this out there, it's not just, the males who walk away or who abandon their parental responsibilities. Females do it as well.
Correct.
I want to ask you, what made you choose? Because everything is choices. What made you choose to step up and be an active parent, even though you and your son's mother are no longer together or were not together even at the time that you found out that she was pregnant? What made you choose to say, I'm going to do what's right?
That goes by, of course, well, I can only say this for myself, but the mentors are the people who you have in your life, that you seen, be a positive role model, what I'm saying, in your life. But also it has to be in your heart. You have to know it, as a father and of course as a man. So you have to be ready for it, like, okay, you know what? This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to stand for. Standing strong and moving forward in wanting to do it and passionate about it. So it is a couple of things. So I would say definitely mentorship on who, of course, is in your life or who you have seen, be that example. Then it turns around as well as, you as a man have to take on the torch and want to. You have to have that passion, because if you don't want to, then it's just like, oh well, I'm just going to keep it moving. And that's not the, of course, the way to go, because it goes right back to being a real man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to stand strong. You're the head, you're the leader. So you have to lead. And in order to do that, these are, of course, tools and avenues that you have to just stand up on as a man. You have to take care of your responsibilities, as well as the fact of being an example. Not just only taking care of your responsibilities, being an example to your child, so then they can see, well, you know what? Wow, dad is doing this, dad is doing that. That's good. I want to be like that when I grow up, or whatever the case may be. But that I would say that I don't want to jump too far, too deep. But I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And so with that, it makes me want to go to this next question. Like, what's something that people, okay, thinking of everything you just said, thinking of, all those variations or variables, for a better word, thinking of all those variables that you have to consider, the lifestyle that you lived, the company that you kept, birds of a feather flock together type of thing, having people that you keep around you or that you surround, that you end up going around and spending time with, having them being an example, whether it's a good example or a bad example. Considering all of those things, what's something that people may misunderstand, if anything at all, may misunderstand of being a single father, whether it be other males who chose to abandon their responsibility, or whether it be the females themselves, the mothers to these kids that are out here. What's something that people in general misunderstand about single fathers?
I feel that it's all, well, I shouldn't say always, that's a strong word. I would say leadership. They don't because they don't see it, and it's not there sometimes. And then with some fathers, it is there. So, but they lean towards more of the negative than the positive, and that's the sad part about it. So a lot of people, view it from a standpoint of negativity, and it's never. I feel that where's the positivity, with the viewpoint of a positive father, or a father who is doing good, who is supporting his child, who is actually physically being there, who's being a leader. And so what comes in, to answer your question, is like they misunderstand, because it's like, okay, I'm going to go with what everybody else says. Oh, it's nothing but deadbeat dads out here, et cetera, et cetera. Because you got to look at the point of view of what's the positive and what's the negative. You're going to, of course, see or hear about more negative than even positive. So it's kind of like, man, like, unfortunately, you have to really truly see physically by actions and things that go on with a single father, to really know, like, okay, well, wow, he's actually taking responsibilities for his actions, as well as being a great father. So I personally, I just feel that, there are a lot of people out there that views the viewpoint as a single father is negative, to be honest with you. I mean, even, just the average Joe Blow, if you just, ask a single mother, just a random single mother, or a random single father, they will even say, well, there's, a lot of single fathers out here, they'll go to negative first versus positive. So it's sad, unfortunately, but, we don't really highlight the positive fathers that are actually out here. So.
Whew, you better say it. And guess what? That's what I'm here to do.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's terrible, because that's terrible. There are a lot. Yes. Okay. The numbers don't lie. There are more males that aren't doing their, taking care of their responsibilities than there are females. Just stating the facts. Yeah. However, I believe that if society, if the media, if all this information that's constantly being put out here is continuously bashing the males who are not involved,
right,
it's not going to help them become involved.
Exactly.
It's not going to help them step up. It's not going to help them want to say, you know what, I can do this. I may not have been there for those first 3 years. I may not have been there for those first, for some, even 18 years.
Yeah.
But I can start now. I can start today, whenever that day is. I can make a difference today. And, that's why I just really feel that, coming from a positive standpoint is the best way to win over a person's heart.
Oh, yeah, definitely. 1,000%. I agree.
And so for you personally, you have a career, you made the sacrifices back when your son was younger, of pausing certain things, of stopping certain things, and then having to kind of regroup.
Yes.
And then now, your son, 13 years later, you've been able to kind of navigate things a little bit better. And I'm all about showing people that you can do it. You can do both. You can have your work, your career, your job, whatever it is, your business, your company. And then you can also be a parent. You can still be a very successful and a very involved parent. So tell me about, how do you personally, what tools do you use, or what strategies do you use, or what's the mentality that you have when it comes to balancing being a father with work? So basically that work-life balance.
The work-life balance is, it really, and I want to kind of back up a little bit so then it can kind of jump, go into, so to answer the question, like, I had to do a big jump And the big jump was, you know, I was in the process of going to move. So for my career, and because I lived, of course, in a different state. And so with that, with my move, it would have, of course, enhanced. That's why I said, drastic measures of, things was on pause. And I had to stop, all of that, all those plans, all that, and, stand up and be a father. So when that happened, you have to really have strong confidence, you know what I'm saying, in yourself too, as well, because a lot of fathers, they get discouraged, and you have to know that, look, I have a plan, and this plan is going to move forward, but first you got to take care of your responsibilities, and of course, it's your actions, you know what I'm saying, of what you've done. So, but that doesn't stop, your vision, your dreams, your aspirations. I knew that, my son, having my son, it wasn't going to stop, what I had planned, but it just had to go for a pause for a second. So with that, I had to adjust and rearrange some things. And that's why it's very important to plan, because, as a man, and men in general, we, I used to not be like that, a schedule breakdown, like what? Like, I got to check my schedule. Like, no, no, we can go, let's go and go. No. So, I had to, definitely, readjust, how I did, everything, a lot of things. So, it is very important to, definitely plan. And I know it sounds simple, but when you do it, it's phenomenal, because now you get to look at what's next, and then it gives you room for other things to happen, so, and then if other things do pop off, then you're like, okay, cool. But to rewind real quick, I had to make a big sacrifice. The sacrifice was, okay, Dex, you move, you're gonna be away from your son. It stretches out a deeper responsibility of commitment with seeing him. It's 4 hours and 45 minutes away from him. Yes, it didn't happen, overnight. I was tussling with it. It was challenging. But after I set my responsibilities up, after I did what I was supposed to do, and after I found out, okay, this is my plan, this is what, I have to, the way I got to go, then it really, truly helped me, with that.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. See, all about sacrificing, planning, and what I got out of everything that you said, you were talking about getting your priorities in line. You have to put your priorities in order. And it just sounds like from your description of what you just went through, or what you were breaking down for us, right, is, you thought about everything, you laid it all out, you put everything out in front of the table you laid everything out in front of you on the table, and you said, okay, what's most important? And then you just started putting everything else in line, in order, and in its proper place. So that is dope. I love it.
Yes. So it wasn't easy now. It was not easy. And definitely had to really, really see the vision. And that's another thing, that faith factor that I was talking about earlier. Like, you really have to have faith in yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, like, truly, like, okay, I can do this. Confidence in yourself. I can do this. I can really make this happen, and don't give up. because when you're in that mindset of giving up, because I was there, you know what I'm saying, several times, of giving up as far as the career is concerned, not the fatherhood. And it was just like, man, how is this going to actually happen? So that's when you sit back, and you definitely plan, because that's the ticket. You just have to definitely make sure you're moving at the right time, So, but yeah, so I mean, I really thank God for my mentors, as well as, my dad, the main person in my life, for giving me an example of a father, as well as me, picking up, fatherhood and doing it, the way that I feel that is right. Not saying that everything that I do is right, everything that I'm perfect. No, I mean, this came over with time, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't happen overnight. It's just all about progression and consistency. And that's a strong word to use with the male, staying consistent, because of the simple fact, if you don't, then of course it's going to tell everything, and from your kids to, the mother of your child. So all of that is very important. You definitely have to, even if it's not being able to do something, but you're staying consistent with the communication. So then she can know what's going on. So then she can plan out what she needs to do. Because remember, everything is still back to that plan. Just because you're not with her, just because you're not living with her, that doesn't mean that the plan is over. You know what I'm saying? No, you help her out. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't like her. It's not about that. It's about the child. It's about the responsibility. So if you can't pick up the child this weekend, you know what I'm saying, go on and hit her up way in advance, because you already knew Tuesday you wasn't going to be able to pick up Friday.
Hello.
So, go ahead and responsibilities is responsibility. So you got to communicate that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Well, I don't want her to get mad. Well, at the end of the day, they're going to get upset either way. You know what I'm saying? So but she won't get upset as much as the fact of you telling her the day up, or you're telling her days way beforehand, and before you reach out to her and tell her that, come up with a plan. Come up with a plan to help the situation. Don't put all that pressure on her. So then it's like, okay, I'm not able to pick up my child on Friday, but technically Friday, and then I can't pick her up on Saturday. So what I do is, let's work it out to, all right, let's think of a way that we can make this happen. Because I know you got to work. I know this, and the third, but I don't got to get to this meeting until 7 p.m. So I spend those 2 hours to come grab her. And then you still, you're at work, and I just come and drop her off. And then I can be able to go to my meeting and handle what I need to handle. Yeah, I get out late. So let's just go ahead and shoot for Saturday morning. Pick her up, and then boom, spend time with her Saturday and Sunday, and take her to school on Monday. Boom, icing on the cake right there. Take her to school. Different things like that. It's just different things that are going to affect in a positive way, the whole entire parenthood. I apologize. I just went in. So, but yeah, that's how I do it.
No, like I'm over here like, oh my gosh, like I'm trying to be quiet, trying not to have, too many ad-libbed interjections, on this while you're talking. But no, you just hit so many points. I just did a 3-part series of podcasting and YouTube videos on my channel that talks about visitation and custody problems that single parents or those who co-parent go through. And when you were talking about how, if plans change, if you see where you're not going to be able to be on time, to pick up the child or drop the child off, let her know or let him know. Right. It's all about communicating in advance, because regardless, it's going to affect somebody's schedule, and that somebody is both people. And so it's crazy that it's not crazy, because everything falls in line as it's supposed to. But anyway, you were just literally talking about my prior three-part series of videos that I just posted, and that's called visitation and custody problems that single dads, single moms, and co-parents go through. So that is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
totally. So, man, there's like two more things that I want to see if we can get to. When it comes to co-parenting, communication.
Yep.
Co-parenting and that communication or lack thereof ends up can be really stressful, can be really detrimental to successful parenting, because it can also affect the child, especially if they are there in the middle of both of the parents bickering about, oh, you didn't bring the diapers, or you're late by 5 minutes and this is what the court order said, and all this crazy nonsense.
Right.
With your personal experience, when as co-parenting, how has communication always been positive, or always worked out, like your co-parenting situation just in general, period? Has it always been an easy thing? And if it wasn't, did you give up? Tell us a little bit about the experience, whether it be good or bad, just so people can see that, if you just stick through it, and if you possibly use these strategies, like you said, communicate more in advance, and don't just present a problem, present a solution, as well. Maybe that will help with the co-parenting communication and just a whole setup, period. What were your experiences like when it came to co-parenting? Did it start off bad and then eventually get better and improve, or was it always good?
Well, see, that's an amazing question.
Thank you.
And it goes back to effective communication. Because, to answer your question, no, it was never positive. And to this day, right now, like, it's still, up and down. It's been several times that I actually went all the way there, and just because she felt that she didn't want him to see me, she told me that you're not going to see him. And again, like I said, it's 4 hours and some change away. So I drove there, and the whole entire weekend I wasn't able to see him. So, and that's not just one time. That's several times, years, and it was just off of if she's having a good day, then great. If she's having a bad day, then that's what I have to go through. But, of course, being, passionate and of course, committed. And as a father, I chose to keep going, keep doing it, striving for the best, to try to see my son, to try to spend time with him, even with communication of, talking to him on the phone. He actually had his own phone, and all of a sudden, the phone's going straight to voicemail. So I have to reach out on her phone to see if he can talk to me. And then when he does talk to me, he has to put the phone on speakerphone. It's just different things that just like, wait a minute. Wow. So as a man, you definitely have to keep yourself, in the mindset of sane, because, it can get you, to a certain level, and it can really take your mind somewhere that it doesn't want, that it shouldn't go. Giving up. I felt like not giving up on my son, but just giving up on the fact of this is crazy. You're doing this on purpose. You're doing this, and I'm being a father. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and a lot of things. I don't mean, I know the time is running, but
You go ahead. You're fine.
a lot of things, personally, I feel that it's a root, meaning with every single mother, single father, there's a root. And you're like, what is that? What do you mean? The root is, you have to see how everything started. Because then that's going to give you the answer to why everything is happening the way it's happening.
That's right.
So just to give the root of my situation, because we're being transparent.
Right.
So the root is this. There's soul ties that happen with of course, single mothers and single fathers. And how a soul tie happens is, of course, if you're still entertaining that person, as in either sex or either showing them attention as far as going out with them, and you know that y'all are not together, and you don't want to be with him, and you don't want to be with her, but at the end of the day you're showing that affection, that it's like, okay, I'm still gonna chill because she's my baby mama or he's my baby daddy. So we made this deal, that, okay, as long as he pay rent, my rent, and we'll do it like this and do it like that. I mean, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a soul tie there. And that means that you're stuck. Technically, your soul is stuck with that. Your heart is stuck in, like, you have a piece of that person's heart. And that it's like you can't go nowhere. It's like they're a magnet. And then you think that you have something going on as far as a good deal, and the deal don't pan out right. But then you wonder, like, wait a minute, why is this person so crazy? Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of see where the root came from, and you have to stop that at the beginning. And with me, I can say this because I'm not, afraid to say it. But yeah, I stopped that from the get-go. You know what I'm saying? Not just because of the simple fact we wasn't even dating. It was just the fact of, that's how you can get sucked in. Like, oh, okay, well, she's having my child, and I guess I gotta come over. There was challenging things that I had to go through. I went to go see my son, and she showed up at the door with a gown on, and was like, yeah, come on in. No, I'm not coming in. Just bring my son to the door, and I would just sit with him in the car. And that's the things that I had to go through, because it's a simple fact, I'm not about to get trapped into that. Because when you get trapped into it, then it's like you're a pawn, and then you constantly be used as whatever the situation is. And then it's challenging to get out of that situation because of some facts. They already took advantage of you. They already took advantage of the situation. And in their mind, they feel like, well, we got this little thing. And then, but when they get upset or whatever the case may be, or they're in their mood, then that backfires on you. And then you're looking crazy. So I really say from the beginning, you got to watch out how you do things. And for the people who, of course, are already in that situation, then just sit down with the mother, or sit down with the father, and just be like, yo, check it. I messed up, and I don't want to have a parenting relationship like that. I'd rather have just, if we're going to co-parent, let's co-parent. But if we're going to truly be in a relationship, then let's be in a relationship. But either way, that still goes with parenting. You see what I'm saying? Because it's the child. It's not about us. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of those things, and yeah, they come, and if, you do it the way that I did it, a lot of bitterness is going to come, a lot of bitterness is going to come because of some fact of abandonment. The mother may feel like, wow, you just left us. No, I've been there, what I'm saying? And I was there physically, what I'm saying? Helping out, But in her mind, through her emotions, through what she desired, it was, the dream didn't happen. So you will have either bitterness or upset situation, relationship with the mother or with the father. So I'm sorry, I know I'm going off, I know the time.
No, but you're fine. Perfect.
I really wanted to share that because that's very important.
Yes.
And I see that, that affects a lot of people with, single mothers and single fathers. And I thank God for, the opportunity not to fall in that crack. But again, that still comes with, the other person's feelings on how they feel, and to, go bring it back home. I just really want single fathers and single mothers to just think about that, look at the root, look at, the situation in a bigger picture on how to deal with that thing, and the visitation thing. Yeah, I mean, I still to this day, have issues and challenges with that. she called an Amber Alert on me before, that I, stole my son, and it was crazy, but that's a whole nother story for another time. But I did not steal my son, for the record. But he was out of town with me. I got a flat tire on my way back, and of course that meant that I had to stay one more day so I can get the tire fixed and then, take him home. And because of some fact, I took a picture, I communicated effectively, and it still didn't work. Then that's when she called the Amber Alert. I was driving, they pulled me over, and voila. It was a big mess. But again, it's all about still doing your part, effective communication, because that's what I did. As soon as I got the flat, I took a picture of it. I shared the information with her. I told her I'm looking, because at that time it was late, so no tire place was open and on the highway. So it was, my son was little, so I was more so worried about his well-being and safety first. Then we'll worry about the, getting that tire fixed. So, but yeah, I apologize. Next question. I hope I didn't go over time. I'm sorry.
Hey, this is your episode, so you take as much time as you need, because with all this information you're sharing, the gems that you're dropping, and just the reality of what you have been living with, there are people out here that are like, oh my gosh, I am not the only one.
Yeah.
And so what you're sharing is so helpful. There is no way I can put a time limit on this right here. So nope, don't even worry about it. No, I definitely appreciate you, like you said, being fully transparent, with what you're sharing, because this is reality. This is what's happening. These are the types of things that a lot of people are going through. And especially, I hate to say this, but especially our single dads. These are the types of things that the mothers are taking you all through. Yeah. And it's like, even when you try to do the right thing, like you said, you got a flat tire, you did your part, you took a photo, you communicated that to her, and it wasn't enough. It's like, what do you do? What are you supposed to do when you do your part to handle things right? You do your part to communicate thoroughly, and your hands are tied in a situation that you were in, like the one that you were in. What can you do? And then to have the other parent not be mindful of it, not being understanding of the actual situation, and they're still just driven with anger or whatever it is that drives them to not care, that drives them to just still react the way that they react, which is out of, usually anger, doing petty things. Right. And so it's like, well, that's why you got a lot of people that just, throw their hands up in the air, and just like right now, if you could see me, my hands are in the air. Both hands are like, well, forget it. Just forget it. Like, why try? I'm trying to do my part. I'm trying to be involved. I'm trying to be present. Like you were saying earlier, you were attempting to communicate with your son, via phone. You would make the phone calls. Then whenever his mom's mood changed, or whenever she didn't like something about you, or you guys had a tiff, it then affected your ability to communicate with your son directly, to the point to where, okay, your direct access to him ended up getting cut off. So then you go through her, and then going through her, there were, you could tell that your son was speaking on the speakerphone. Like you couldn't even have that one-on-one, male to son, man to son, father to son connection with your own child. And it's all because of, well, what mood is the other parent in today? And you cannot do that. You cannot do that, because at the end of the day, and this is a question I'm going to ask you, at the end of the day, all of that ultimately affects the child. And so my question for you, when it came to the situations of where, you would go to see your son, I'm sure that he was probably expecting you, and then you weren't allowed to have that time with him, or when you would make that phone call to him, maybe his phone was taken away, and then using his mother's phone, the method of using it had to change. He had to be right there by her so she could hear the conversation. So all those things affects the child. And my question to you is, what did you see and how those different things affected your son? Like, what did you see changes in his personality? Did you see changes in his level of being open, or in his level of trust, or in his emotional well-being? And maybe did it affect him at school, his grades? Did you see any effects on your son personally?
Yes. Emotionally, even with communication, because of course, me and him was used to just talking on the phone, regular, not speaker and all that. So I could tell that it was a lot as far as what he was holding back. I could feel it, even with just normal things of conversation, and then also how the communication was allowed, the way that she was doing it. It was just really controlled, I should say. And then even also, speaking with them, you could tell that things was obviously said offline, as far as before he talked to me, or just poured inside of him. So there comes questions, that I definitely know that he would like to ask on his own. And she has shared with him, ask him, but I know that he doesn't want to share, definitely in front of her, because it wouldn't be an effective communication with me and him, because it would be interfered. And he knows that part. So the time will come, that we will get to that point that he will be able to talk on his own again. And, we'll see, so it's an ongoing situation more than anything, as far as up and down, and as a single father, because I can only speak for my situation, but as a single father, that's when it goes back to being consistent and doing your part. As long as you're doing your part, yes, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Oh my goodness, it's going to hurt. But you got to stay strong for your child. You got to stay in it. Stay consistent. And whatever you do, try everything in your power that your child sees it. Because documentation weighs conversation. You can say anything you want to, but that documentation, it ain't shoot. Oh my goodness, you can't beat that black and white. And it's been a challenging situation for me, throughout the years, and yeah. So like I said, I just encourage everybody to, single mothers, single fathers, don't give up. Do not give up, because that child needs you, no matter how it looks, because it's not about you and the mother or the father. It's about that relationship with the child, because they're the ones who's truly affected, Mm-hmm. I mean, even if it's the mother, even if it's the father, they're just going off of their feelings at the time, you see. So they're not thinking about, even if they're pouring negativity inside of the child. Mm-hmm. And you still gotta stay consistent with the faithfulness of what you're supposed to do, your responsibilities, so definitely I gotta say that Yeah, I don't want to go too deep. I'm like, "Ew." Okay, but yeah,
Hey,
definitely,
if you feel it, go.
definitely. Thank you, though.
Mm. My heart goes out to the kids in these situations. I've been there on both sides, and that looks like I've been there. What does that look like? I've been there as the child, having to be shared and split up between both parents. So I've experienced it as a child. So my heart goes out to your son and all of these other children that are out here who have to, who go through this, who are, experiencing it, even though it's secondhanded, but they're experiencing it, it's crazy. Because a lot of that stuff sticks with a child as they grow up and as they get older and as they go through their own life situations, their relationships, and a lot of the stuff that children go through, as innocent as they are, it's those things that affects them as an adult. And not every child, once they become an adult, goes through or knows how to cleanse themselves of what happened to them as a child. And so they allow those things to affect them and their decision-making skills. And then so it starts a cycle. So now they've come from a broken home. They've come from a home of where mom and dad argue. They come from a home where mom and dad, or where one of the parents just, are not present at all. So, not having that balanced household of both mother and father, to them, that's abnormal. Because what's normal to them is a one-sided type of household, either the mom or the dad. And so they go through life having to navigate life with that type of mindset, with that type of understanding. And so I know personally, it took time, and it still takes time, because it's an everyday process of literally, and I'm not trying to go biblical, but renewing my mind.
Definitely.
To not allow my past experiences to affect me in a negative way now as an adult. And so I mentioned that, I experienced it as a child, but then I also experienced it as an adult, as a parent myself. I was married. I then got divorced. For the first year after being divorced, that was the time frame that I went through these same co-parenting type of issues, the terrible communication type of issues. I haven't had to deal with that after that first year of being divorced, because then my ex totally abandoned us, not just financially, but abandoned us just, with his parental responsibilities. So I've been a complete single parent for, almost 14 years, 13 years. And once, I started seeing patterns in myself of things that looked familiar. And those familiar things were things that I experienced, when I was a child, and then things that I experienced during the separation phase, when all the emotions are high.
Right.
And I, at some point I was like, man, like this is terrible. Like I know better. And so I had to, check myself, and I had to say, okay, I've got to, I have a choice to continue to go through this the way that, I've been going through it, or I can rewrite how things have been going for just my life, period.
Right.
Because I started seeing how it was affecting my child, and I saw the familiar let me try to say that word, the familiarity, that word, I saw the pattern in what she was then going through as a child that looked just like what I went through as a child. And I had always told myself, if I ever have children, I will never put them in a situation that I was put in as a child. But then guess what I did? But, it kind of goes with what I was saying a little bit earlier in this conversation. It's never too late to stop and to get things on track. It's never too late to just press that pause button and say, okay, I can do better. I need to do better. I have to do better. If not for myself, for this child, because this child does not deserve it. So my heart goes out to the child, but then at the same time, being an adult and knowing the things that I know now, my heart goes out to both the dads and the moms, whether they're involved or not, whether they're absent or not. My heart goes out to both of the parents as well, because if as parents, we're still going through those things, we're still having those petty moments, we're still having those bickering moments, that's because we're still not at peace with something in our lives. And it's like you were saying, all of this type of behavior is rooted into something. Mm-hmm. It's rooted in something, and that means that because this type of behavior is abnormal. And with this type of behavior going on between adults, then one or both of those adults are still dealing with something that happened to them years ago. Mm-hmm. And my heart goes out to them because I know that feeling. But then I also now know what it's like to be on the other side and having gotten rid of that weight, having gotten rid of whatever that issue or those issues were. And right. it one thing that I tell my clients is it takes time, and it's going to hurt.
Yes.
But you have to be patient, mm-hmm. and you have to want it.
Yes.
That's the only way that things will change. That's the only way you yourself will be happy and at peace, because you want to, I want to get you to a place, or I want to help show people how to get to the place of where no matter what the other parent does or says, it will not affect you at all. Mm-hmm. And having that ultimate peace and sense of sanity is priceless.
Yes.
And the only reason that, I'm not going to say the only reason, but one of the main reasons that one of the parents will kind of allow their moods to shift and change and then dictate if that child, if they're going to be cooperative or not with the child visitation or the child's conversations with the other parent, is because they see that it affects the other parent. They see that it's a way to still control the other parent, or it's their way of getting revenge.
Correct. Yep. That's so true.
Man. Yep. So let me stop preaching for a second and let me get back on track. But so with the things, a lot of the things that you were describing as well, I'm going to go back to that 3-part series video that I posted on my YouTube channel. And for those of you who are listening, if you haven't checked out that YouTube channel yet, you can find it by searching Coach Enrgy. That's Coach Nrgy right there in your YouTube search bar. And you will see it's called The Visitation and Custody Problems Parts 1, 2, and 3. And the subtitle is Listen to This Before Having Sex. And in each of those parts, I pose a question that says, is the person whom you're dating or married to or just simply having sex with, is that someone whom you can live in the same household with for at least 18 years, even if you two are no longer, quote unquote, in love with each other, even if you two are separated, and being able to do all of that for the sake of your child, being able to have 24-hour access to both parents, and both parents being civil with each other. that's something that a lot of us don't think about, even when we're just, like I said, dating someone, getting to know them, filling them out, or if it's not even that serious of a relationship, but if it's someone that we're just, sleeping with, what people call it, friends with benefits type of thing. What if you end up being pregnant? Mm-hmm. Is this person that I'm being risky with?
Right.
Is this person someone that I can see myself with for the next 18 years, whether we are together or not, whether we are still in love or not, for sake of our child, having 24-hour access to the both of us, so our child doesn't have to be passed back and forth for the next 18 years. And I think that if we all ask that question at the beginning stages of getting to know someone, or if we just have that in the back of our mind as we're going through life, dating, meeting people, I think that having that reality being a possibility or an option, or seeing how it can be a possibility or an option, would have a lot of us maybe make some different choices. Because I know that if I knew some things, if I knew the things that I know now, I would have made some real different choices.
Right. Me too.
You're so silly. So we're about to start wrapping this up. I do want to ask a few more little small, shorter closing questions. I don't know if I'm right with what I'm about to say, but I just felt that this may have been, and you can correct me, you don't have to just go along with it. Let me know if I'm wrong or right. But was this your first time really just opening up about your single parenting and co-parenting experiences?
Yes. I never opened up about it. As far as, I'm sorry, I should say it like this, excuse me. Opening on a platform. I definitely, of course, spoke with, counseling about it, But as far as even, I would say publicly or, streaming wise, this is the actual first time. And even that, for me, it's not a stretch, but I guess it is a stretch because I've never done it, and being in a comfortable place with myself as well as the platform is very important. So, I'm excited that I hope that I'm able to help the people who are listening, and as well as the fact of, the different perspectives that I did give, as well as even it helped myself, even just to be able to share and talk about it on your platform. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Because, it's one thing to share your story and to just really get personal and to really just spill everything out whenever it's in the confinement of a counselor, a therapist, whatever that person is. Because it's just between the two of you. But it's another thing. And there's more power behind when you do it in the open and in public, and where people, even total strangers, will be able to hear your story. And I felt it, and I heard it in your voice as you started talking. I was like, wow, like he's really getting into it, because you are comfortable with where you are, just like you said. You're comfortable with where you are right now at this point in life, with what you've learned, even with the things that you've gone through, even knowing that things are not perfect, but you are still so comfortable with being able to just open up and just share. And it's empowering, and this is going to empower you to a whole nother degree. Watch and wait and see. I'm just going to say that.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. All right. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. One of the last questions I want to ask you is what's that last thing? How do I want to say it? What is the last thing that you want to say to people before we wrap everything up? What's that one last thing you want to share?
I want to go back to some of the things that I shared. You want to make sure you have, and I'm going to speak towards the fathers, and then I'm going to go into just parents, mothers and fathers. But as the male, you definitely want to be the head. Don't be afraid to step out there and handle your responsibilities outside of just, okay, I'm calling every blue moon, or I'm giving child support, so that should be good enough. No, go the extra mile. What is it going to hurt? Responsibilities, be the head, like I said, and definitely this is for both effective communication, because you can communicate all you want to, but effective communication is very important, because effective communication is different from just communicating. Effective communication is getting something done. Communicating is we're just okay, communicating like back and forth, whatever. But effective communication is accomplishing something. So, okay, let me communicate with her to let her know that, I'm going to be running late, or whatever the case may be. Communication is very important. And also consistency. So stay consistent, whatever it is. And if it's not going to be consistent, and it's not going to be consistent for a couple of days beforehand, then it goes back to what I said before, effective communication. Seeing what that would, of course, do. Like, okay, how can we work this out, etc. And then it goes back to the thing before that, having confidence in everything, being the head, being the leader, or even just having confidence in what you say, male or female. Like, okay, this is what I would like to do, da 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 da. Instead of and positivity and coming off positivity. That's another thing. You will see such a change, such a drastic change when the delivery is different. Because when that delivery is different, you'll be like, whoa, I didn't even know. Just try it one day. Instead of what do you want? Just try it. Oh, hey, how you doing? I was wondering. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, have manners. Well, I don't like her like that. It's not about that. It's not even about that. It's about communication, effective communication, and you just being different. You want to have time. You want to have time with your child, or you want everything on a positive. Everything doesn't have to be negative. So that's my tip. Those are my tips, I should say. So definitely run with it. Constantly make sure y'all follow Coach Enrgy, because she is giving y'all a bunch of amazing nuggets. And I don't mean to just plug it, but I mean it for real, because I've been listening. So it's been affected, even my life, so I'm not just saying this just because we're on here. I'm saying it in real life, So yeah, definitely. Thank you, Enrgy, for your time.
Absolutely. But I'm sorry, I can't let you go after that one, because I just feel that with one of the things that you said in your wrap up question, and first of all, thank you for acknowledging the work that I'm doing, which is nothing but me being obedient and doing what Christ is putting on my heart to do. So I do appreciate you recognizing that and acknowledging that, that means a lot. And still wrapping up, you mentioned confidence, men, especially single dads, being confident, but you definitely did cover women as well. But I do want to ask you this, for those who are listening, who may have this question based off what you said. For those men, those guys, those males who don't have that positive example, that father figure, that role model, that male mentor, to look up to and to have given them an example, because who knows, they may have grown up in a house with a single parent, and that parent may have just been their mother. Right. And so they missed out on those male qualities that are so necessary to become a man. How can, in your experience, your opinion, your, with whatever it is that's in you, whatever your spirit says, how can a guy get or increase his confidence as a man in order to then be confident as a father?
That's an amazing question. And the answer is you have to find it, because it actually, you have to go out and seek it. Because if you want change, you have to go seek change. So that's either with podcasts, either with, of course, the people who you're around, even with growth in general. Like as my career, I had to, not just only my father, I had to I looked at mentors that even if you can't talk to your mentor, and you just see what they're doing and how it's so effective, follow the lead, listen to, of course, their YouTubes or whatever they may have available. But it starts with you. You have to have confidence in yourself in order to know that you can do it. And then what helps you through that confidence is your mentor, because they're pushing you forward. They're pushing you in that direction. So definitely, I would say seek it, from podcasts to different, of course, programs that they may have, even from YouTube. Trust me, it's many avenues and different things that are available for you. I mean, of course, we're on one now, with the podcast, but it's just very important that you constantly listen, and you constantly physically see, what's going on. If it's a podcast, constantly listen to it over and over again. I mean, I do it, definitely with podcasts, with of course people who I'm around. Just to even, that's just like bettering your craft. It goes the same way with, of course, life. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have to have confidence in yourself, and because that's where it has to start. And then after you have that confidence, you got to go seek, because a lot of men, we don't want to admit that we have an issue. We don't want to admit that there's a problem here, and that's very important in itself. Because why? Well, I just want to be right. I just want everything to flow good. I was there. I was that guy, But it's not about your mess ups. It's about overcoming your mess ups and walking forward and moving forward. So definitely, I just encourage, seek, but, seek the podcast, YouTubes, seek your mentors, and definitely, listen, and constantly listen. And nothing is wrong with admitting where you messed up at, you know what I'm saying? Or where you have to fix, what you have to fix. So that's word of encouragement.
I love it. Yes. And you, I'm trying to wrap this up, but it's not my fault. It's your fault. I'm sorry. Because you keep saying some good stuff and I just cannot let it go. So hopefully this might be the last question, but I'm going to piggyback off of what you were just saying. You have to first acknowledge and just understand, that things aren't perfect. You aren't perfect. And, if things aren't perfect, you have to go seek help. And you definitely gave some amazing examples of where a person can go, to start changing, start making that shift, that mental shift, which were the podcasts, the YouTubes, finding a mentor, whether that's someone in person, or whether that's someone online whom you may never meet. So, those are great examples. You did mention earlier, or a few minutes ago, about having spoken with a counselor before and sharing your story with a counselor. And I just want to get from you, because males, there's such a stigma with men going to get help, whether it be a counselor or a therapist or a psychologist, whatever that, whomever they go to, there's a stigma around it. And so with you having your own personal platform, that's very public, but that's very, it's still in that mainstream type of world. You're dealing with music as a DJ and, all the visuals that comes with it. How is it that you got comfortable enough, and what can you say to wrap up? What can you say to that guy that's listening right now to where he can get comfortable enough to just go seek help, because we cannot do it by ourselves. If we don't have the tools, we have to go get those tools in order to do the work.
No, I agree 1000%. And it goes back to definitely having confidence in yourself and knowing, first of all, you have to spot out the issue. You have to spot out that, I'm just not good at this, or I need help with this. Not being afraid to admit that. That's where it starts, because, yes, you think about it, you can say it to yourself as a male, like, dang, I just don't do that right. But then what? You have to go out there and seek the help. Yes, it doesn't necessarily have to be public. I didn't go public, oh, I'm going to go see a counselor. No, it doesn't have to be public, but you have to first, you can't be in denial. You have to know that you have, of course, the issue with whatever the situation is, and that's where, after you know that, after you have that confidence, you have to go seek it. Because if you don't seek it, then it's going to always stick with you. It's always going to be a problem. It's always going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to constantly wonder why certain things are just not happening, right? And the root, we always go back to the root. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. We know what the root is. It's that issue. It was never dealt with, and it's always technically tugging on your spirit. And you're wondering, like, why am I not succeeding? Why am I not doing this? And why am I not da-da-da-da? Because of the simple fact it was never dealt with. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to be truthful with yourself. And that's where it starts. Look yourself in the mirror. Go get home. Look in the mirror. And say, look, I have an issue with such and such. I'm going to deal with it. Got to confess it, So seek help. And it definitely will, of course, help you. It helped me. I can tell you that. Drastically, even just growing, from different levels of life,
Mm-hmm.
And learning things. So I definitely encourage all males, everyone, just to go seek it. Nothing's wrong with it.
Right.
Nothing's wrong with that. So, but yeah, definitely. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
No, you're fine. And is it embarrassing, as a man, and then as a black man, and then as a black man who is in the media, and is it embarrassing to when you went to your counselor? Did you have nerves? Was it embarrassing going there, and then now to be able to talk about it later? Is it embarrassing?
I would say yes, because deep down you're like, because of who you are and your brand, and it's just like, oh my God, are they gonna look at me crazy? Or even just in general, like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. I shouldn't have to go through this. But we're human. This is life. Right. You feel me? And we're not perfect. No one is. And when you get over that hump of knowing that you're not perfect, when you get over that hump, and then building the confidence to move forward, and of course, to do it, then everything will start falling in place, and you'll start seeing, like, you know what? A lot of people, they're wondering, like, why am I not growing to this next level? Mm-hmm. Why am I not doing this? And why? Because you haven't been honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. And you haven't got it out yet. So you have to get that thing out of you, meaning express it, share it. That's the ticket. And don't be embarrassed. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Mm-hmm. Because, you're just being honest with yourself. So with that, just move forward. That's what I say, confidence. You have to have confidence in yourself. And how to build that confidence is you got to talk out loud and speak about it. Like, okay, you know what? I do need to talk to someone. You know what? I really have to do this. And actually move forward and do it. Don't just say it. Mm-hmm. Move forward and do it, and it will help.
Absolutely. Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much for being honest with that. With being honest with the fact that, yeah, the thought of having to go to a counselor, it may have been embarrassing. And that's just because of how, society looks at, or has in the past, because I know right now everyone's trying to change the narrative to where, people who are seeking help, people who are going to a counselor or therapist, they're trying to change the fact that it's no longer, it should no longer be looked at as an embarrassment. And so, the fact that you were honest about it, because there are other people who are listening to this right now who have those same feelings, and those feelings, that feeling of embarrassment, is what's causing them to not go, is what's causing them to not research and take that first step. And so that's why I asked that question, and you were so honest with it. I love it. So my wrap up would be, at the end of the day, be patient with whatever the situation is that you're going through, the co-parenting situation, or if you are just a completely single parent where basically the other parent is entirely absent. Be patient. If you're in a co-parenting situation and it's not going well right now, things are still very trippy, whatever word you want to use, just continue to be patient. Always put that child first. That's another thing that will help. That's what helped me just kind of say, you know what, I'm done with the nonsense. Let me just do what's right, because at the end of the day, it's affecting my child, and my child has to come first. Their well-being has to come first, because right now, with the behavior that they're seeing me go through, or the behavior that they're seeing me express, is what's molding them to being who they're going to be, or it's molding their heart to either, being in a healthy or choosing healthy relationships, as they get older or not. So just being in the mindset of, just doing what's right for the child, having that question be your barometer, use that question as your guide whenever, right before you're about to say something, or right before you're about to do something, before you act or react, just think about, is this for the well-being of my child? How will this affect my child? And just remember, don't add to it. Don't add to the nonsense. If the other parent is being, petty, or whatever word that you want to use, if they're not being cooperative, don't add to the nonsense. Just be patient. And if it means to not engage, and if that means that you have to just kind of back off for a second, pause the conversation, pause the exchange of the child. Like if that child is, if that parent, the other parent, is bringing like aggression or animosity at that moment of where you two are supposed to exchange the child for your visitation weekend, and if they're not being cooperative, you may just have to pause and say, you know what, I'm not going to add to this, because right now from the outside, our child, they don't know who's right or who's wrong. They just see us both acting a fool.
Yep.
And so you just want to make sure that you're always walking in, upright. And at the end of the day, do not give up. Don't give up. Like you said earlier, your child, you may not be able to spend that time with your child right now the way that you want. But as that child gets older, they will see.
Yep.
They'll learn. They'll understand. You'll have your opportunity one day to explain what happened and the why behind it. Yeah. So don't give up either. And seek help. We have to seek help. And I do understand there's a stigma for right now around seeking help with a therapist, psychologist, counselor. I don't know if it's because of those terms or not. But shoot. Come talk to a life coach. Come talk to me. That's what I'm here for. As you can see, I am an advocate for everyone who's going through these type of situations, both the men and the women, both the dads and the moms. If you don't want to go to a therapist or whatever, cool, whatever. Everybody has a coach in life. A business coach, health coach, wellness coach, relationship coach, dating coach. Just get a life coach. If those other terms, those other people, the therapist, the counselor, the psychologist, the psychiatrist, if those terms are too embarrassing for you right now, just at least take that first step. That's fine. Take that first step to go see a coach. Yep. They will at least help you start to break down those walls and start to unfold and peel back a lot of those layers in order to indeed get to the root of the issue. And always remember, the choice is yours. This is your life. You have a choice to either continue to go through this life in the same manner of misery that you're going through it right now, or you can take control of it. Because the best way to take control of it is to start making better choices and to start making intentional choices. So the choice is yours, ultimately, at the end of the day. Whew. Dex. So we're going to wrap up that session. Now, I like to always ask another random question. This is something that's out of the box. You can go left, you can go right with this question. This is just one of the finale questions that I will throw out there at the end of an amazing episode. So what's that one thing? And I want you to be honest, whatever it is, what's that one thing that you hope that I would not ask?
Oh gosh.
That's that reaction I want.
I don't know. I don't really have anything like that. Like,
so you see how you went up a couple of octaves?
I know, right? Because I'm trying to think like something, and that's the thing. Like, it's all about being comfortable. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm comfortable, So anything you could ask, it just would. I say shoot for it. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good. Wow, you got me on that one. I'm so sorry.
I'll take it. That's all right. See, and even it's the reaction.
Yes.
It's not always necessarily about the answer that you would give to that question. It's the reaction to catch you off guard. I love it. All right. So now we're at the end of this episode. I want to give you the floor and give you some time to talk about what all you have going on. You are a busy bee over there. You've got a lot going on. I know you've got a lot of things just kind of, over there in the pot that's warming up. And I want you to shout out your business, shout out your website, any upcoming events that you may have, any projects that you're working on. If you're on social media, shout out those platforms so people can know where to find you. Just show and tell our listeners a little bit more about you and where they can find you.
Thank you so much. Of course, it's DJ Dex ATL on social media. That's on everything: Twitter, Instagram, the official DJ Dex on Facebook, and also DJDexATL.com. So DJ Dex ATL is on everything. So DJDexATL.com. I also have mixtapes on SoundCloud. It's going to be DJ Dex ATL all together. So you could check out mixtapes as well as my website. And I also travel with a lot of inspirational artists on tour. So I'm an official tour DJ for a lot of artists, inspirational artists, as well as a few gospel artists too, as well, like Kirk Franklin and people to that nature. So I really, truly enjoy my job. I also specialize in voiceover commercials. And I have a syndicated radio show also as well in different cities that I, of course, produce. So I'm excited about that. A lot of things are in the pot this year. So I can't share it, but I can say that oh my goodness, it's going to be an amazing year, and I'm super excited about what's going to happen. And so I'm excited that I actually get to give a snippet right here with Coach Enrgy. You know what I'm saying? So y'all get to hear it first. No one knows nothing. So definitely get ready for new tours. Get ready for TV. So yeah, you're gonna get ready for a lot of things, new adventures and things to that nature, and organizations as well. So it's gonna be great.
Awesome. Hey, all I got to say is don't forget about your sis.
I got you. I got
you. Y'all heard it right here. I knew him before he got bigger than what he already is. Yes, sir. So everyone, make sure that you go and support DJ Dex. He has been an amazing guest on today's episode. I once again thank you so much for participating and just giving me your time, because I understand the importance of time. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And again, thank you for your support. If you would like to be a guest on this platform, on this channel, go ahead and reach out to me. Contact me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, on that Apple podcast, and whatever your favorite podcast platform is. All of those locations, you can find me by simply searching Coach Enrgy. That is Coach Nrgy. Or you can go to my hub, which is my website, and locate all my information there and get in contact with me right there as well. That website is CoachNrgy.com. One more time, that's CoachNrgy.com. Do not forget to subscribe, share, follow, hit the thumbs up button. Let us know if you like this particular episode. And you know how we do. Go ahead, get the conversation started below. Comment below of wherever you're listening to this episode and let us know what you think. Share with us what your experiences are. Ask questions if you have questions, because we're definitely going to follow up if people have questions. And at the end of the day, you know how I always end it. I love you guys. And remember, keep smiling.